So over the entire summer, the NHL Network was posting their top 10 goalies list, top 20 defensemen, top 20 wingers, centermen, and they finally posted their top 50 players heading into the 2019-2020 NHL season. And in today's video, I'm just going to go over the list, tell you guys what I agree with, tell you guys what I disagree with, and just overall give you my analysis on the list. You guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And before I get into the video, I want to apologize for not uploading over the past 2 days. I am very sick. You guys can probably still tell from my voice, but I wanted to get something up today, and I thought this would definitely be a fun video to make. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. So starting off from 50 all the way up until 31, we have Elias Pettersson starting the list off at number 50. Hopefully the NHL doesn't copyright me for this because I am using the picture that they used on the NHL Network, but it doesn't show any players' faces, or it doesn't show really anything, so they shouldn't. But again, it's the NHL, so it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they did. But getting back to it, Elias Pettersson at number 50, that's definitely some high praise for him considering he has only played in one NHL season. 60 plus points. Had he have stayed healthy, probably would have cracked 70 and probably would have been a 30 goal scorer as well. So I can definitely see why they have him in the top 50 players list, because he was actually pretty solid as a two-way centerman as well. And then you have Sean Monahan at number 49, a breakout year for him. Over a point per game for the first time in his career. He was a part of that really good Gaudreau and Lindholm line, so I can definitely see why they have him in the top 50 players. Nicholas Backstrom at 48, I feel like that's honestly a little bit low. Even still, like, I feel like he's a very, very good player and an underrated player as well, so it's nice that they have him in the top 50, but I honestly think that might be a little bit low. Logan Couture at number 47, the new captain of the San Jose Sharks. It definitely makes sense as to why he's in the top 50, one of the more clutch players in the NHL. He's definitely a guy you'd want on your team come playoff time. And then you have Chris Letang at number 46. Again, I feel like that might be a little low as well, especially considering how he played this past season when he was healthy and when he was on the ice, because to start the year, he was in contention for the Norris Trophy. So Letang definitely had a really good year, and I think that might be a little bit low for him. But ranking players like this, especially comparing goaltenders, defensemen, and forwards, is definitely difficult, so I can see why Chris Letang is at number 46. And then going from 45 to 40, you have Marc-Andre Fleury at 45, Tuukka Rask at 44. I think I would probably put Fleury ahead of Tuukka Rask, but that's just me. Carey Price at 43, Jack Eichel at number 42, Taylor Hall at number 41. I think that is an absolute joke. He literally just won the Hart Trophy in the 2017-18 season. Just because he was injured last year, I don't think you bump him all the way down to number 41. I probably would have him in the top 25. That's just me personally. I think Taylor Hall is fantastic, so I think that is ridiculously low for him. And then you have Vladimir Tarasenko at number 40, Drew Doughty at number 39, Roman Josi at 38, Morgan Riley at 37, John Carlson at 36, so 4 defensemen in a row there. Mark Stone at number 35. Again, I think that is super low for him just because he's a player that doesn't put up like 100-point seasons. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He's an amazing two-way player, and he also just had a career year, and I think heading into this up-and-coming season, he's going to be on a very good line, and I think he's going to be in a prime position to really make that jump into a superstar in the NHL, or at least to be regarded as a superstar, because in my opinion, he's already kind of teetering towards, being a superstar caliber player. It's just people don't really recognize him as that, so I think he should definitely be higher. Sebastian Aho at number 34, I think that's fine. He just had a breakout season, over a point per game. He was fantastic. Ben Bishop at 33, I think that's good as well. He just had a ridiculously good year. In my opinion, he should have won the Vezina Trophy as the league's best goaltender in the regular season, because the numbers he put up were fantastic, and without him, Dallas wouldn't have made the playoffs, and it's just simple as that. Claude Giroux at number 32, I think that's fair. Seth Jones at 31, I think that is a solid ranking for him as well, but I think after this up-and-coming season, Seth Jones is really going to make that leap into becoming one of like the top 3, top 5 best defensemen in the entire league. Now looking at the rankings from the 30 spot all the way up until number 11, we have Sergei Bobrovsky at number 30. I think that's a fair spot for him. He is one of the top goaltenders in the entire NHL. Some people think he's the best goaltender in the NHL. I feel like him and Vasilevsky should be a little bit closer on this rankings, but Vasi did just win the Vezina and has obviously been very good over the past 2 years, so it definitely makes sense as to why he is, 15 spots ahead of Sergei Bobrovsky. And then we have Blake Wheeler at number 29. I feel like that's a little bit too low for him. He just put up back-to-back 90-plus point seasons. He's a fantastic leader for that Winnipeg team, and I've said this on the channel a lot. I think he's a very, very underrated player. And then we have Evgeny Malkin at number 28. I think that's fine. Then at number 27, we have Ryan O'Reilly. Obviously, he just had a dominant playoffs, won the Conn Smythe along with the Stanley Cup with St. Louis. Definitely makes sense as to why he's at the number 27 spot. Not a guy who puts up a lot of points, but he is very, very, very important important to that St. Louis team. Tyler Seguin at number 26, I think that's fair. He's obviously very good and very important to Dallas. David Pastrnak at number 25, in my opinion, that is way too low. I'm a huge fan of David Pastrnak's game. When he was on the ice this past season, he was one of the best wingers in the entire NHL. If he stays healthy next year, along with that whole Boston top line, I don't see any reason why David Pastrnak won't score 100 points and be like a 50-goal scorer. I think he's that good, so in my opinion, that's a little bit too low for him. Erik Karlsson at number 24, it does make sense because he didn't have the greatest year with San Jose, but if he can get back to that Ottawa Erik Karlsson who brought Ottawa to the conference finals, then he's a top 10 player in the NHL hands down. Mark Giordano at number 23 obviously makes sense, just won the Norris Trophy this past season, so I think that's a good spot for him. Mikko Rantanen at 22, I think that is fair as well. Maybe a little bit too high. You know, some people think he's overrated because he plays on that very good Colorado top line, but he's a big reason why that top line is very good. Like, I think he makes McKinnon better. I think he makes Landeskog better. I think all those guys make each other better. So I don't like the narrative that he's only putting up those numbers because he plays with the McKinnon. I still think Rantanen is very good. Artemi Panarin at number 21, I think that's probably a little bit too high in my opinion. I'd probably put Blake Wheeler ahead of him. I would definitely put Pastrnak ahead of him. I would 100% put Taylor Hall ahead of him, and Taylor Hall was like at the 41 spot, so that just shows you how bad of a ranking that was. I like Panarin. I think he is very good, but I think 21 is probably a little bit too high for him. And then we have Braden Point at number 20, just had 40 goals, 90 plus points, had an amazing season. He's under contract, is going to miss the majority of October though because he had some hip surgeries, I believe, or he had some type of surgery over the summer, so hopefully he gets well and can come back and continue to build off of last season. I think that's a good spot for him. Johnny Gaudreau at 19, I think that's solid as well. Obviously just had an amazing season, 99 points for him, and really solidified himself as a superstar in the NHL. Mike Scheifele at number 18, the man is just super consistent. Every year you basically know what he's going to bring to the table. I think this might be a tiny bit too low for him, but then looking at the guys ahead of him, you definitely could make an argument that they all should be ahead of him. So it kind of gets tougher when you get into the top players, but Mark Scheifele is obviously very, very good. Steven Stamkos at number 17, so one spot ahead of Mark Scheifele. In my video where I ranked the best NHL player from every letter in the alphabet, I had Scheifele over Stamkos just because of all-around game and because of their playoff performances, but I can definitely see why they have Steven Stamkos ahead of him. Then next up on the list, you have Leon Draisaitl, just had 50 goals, was only one goal behind Alex Ovechkin for the Rocket Richard. He had 105 points. Obviously an amazing year for him, and yes, you're going to get those people that are going to say he wouldn't do that if he wasn't on a line with Connor McDavid for the majority of the season, but in my opinion, he could drive his own line and he could do fantastic. I love Leon Draisaitl. I think this is definitely a solid spot for him. I don't think he's overrated at all. And then we have Andrei Vasilevsky at number 15, so the NHL Network definitely thinks he's the best goaltender in the NHL, and rightfully so. He's been amazing over the past 2 years, just won the Vezina Trophy, and the Vezina means you were the best goaltender throughout the regular season, so obviously it makes sense as to why he's in the top 15. And now we have Patrice Bergeron at number 15. I think this is a good spot for him as well. One of the best two-way centermen in the entire NHL. Had an amazing season point per game wise this past year as well. I wish him and Pastrnak would have stayed healthy because that Boston top line, really all those players could have been up around 100 points. That would have been pretty crazy. Hopefully we can see that next season, but Patrice Bergeron at 14, I have no complaints about that whatsoever. And then finishing it out at the 13, 12, and 11 spot, you have three Maple Leafs, Matthews at 13, Marner at 12, and JT at 11. Honestly, I don't know if John Tavares should be ahead of both of these guys. Obviously, you could put them in any order, and you would have some people complaining. They're all very good, and I kind of like how they put them one after the other, so you're not going to get too many people complaining about who's better and whatnot. And now, finally, getting into the top 10, we have Victor Hedman at number 10, followed by Brent Burns, and then we have Alexander Barkov at number 8. Barkov finally getting that recognition as one of the best players in the NHL, and this past season he definitely was. Brad Marchand at number 7, so they're definitely saying he's the best player on that Boston team. I don't even know if I agree with that, but to each their own, I guess. Alex Ovechkin at number 6. I think that's fair. He was dominant this past season. Patty Kane at number 5. Nate McKinnon at number 4. Sidney Crosby at 3. Kucherov at 2. And Connor McDavid at number 1. I definitely think I would put Crosby ahead of Nikita Kucherov, but again, I can see why they have Kucherov ahead because he obviously just had a ridiculous record-breaking season, so I really don't have, too many complaints points with the top 50 in the top 10 especially. It's really hard when you're ranking players 1 through 50, especially like I said earlier, when you're comparing goaltenders, forwards, and defensemen. It really gets difficult, and you're not going to please everybody. So obviously there was some blunders in this list. Taylor Hall is the one that really jumped out at me most. So let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comment section below, and in your opinion, what are some of the biggest mistakes the NHL Network made on this list? So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said earlier, make sure to let me know your thoughts on the NHL Network's top 50 players list down in the comment section below, and who do you guys think is the best player in the NHL right now? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.